Hello, everybody, and welcome to this amazing discussion. I literally am dying to have this chat with Jennifer for a very long time, literally since the minute I met her. Jennifer, would you please introduce yourself and tell people like what it is that you do? I'm excited to just really explore this topic as you know, a leading matchmaker in Ireland. I can't wait to discuss. So tell us where you are and what you do and how you've been doing it.
Okay, Patricia. Well, I'm a matchmaker, as you say, or an introductions director, whatever way you want to call it. I run Choose Company for the last 14 years, bringing people together for relationships, for love, for companionship, whatever it is they're looking for. And I like my job. It's challenging, but it's very enjoyable. And I suppose, given the fact that I've been doing this for 14 years, I probably do have some tips, at least, or some interesting stories. So let's see where this goes. I'm based in Dublin. Two of the girls that work with me, and we operate throughout Ireland. Doesn't matter where people are, from Donegal to Kerry and everywhere in between. So long as their heart is beating, there's love out there for them. So yeah, there you go.
I absolutely love that comment, as long as their heart is beating. And I think it really is about their heart. So, Jennifer, my first question for you is, you've met so many women and men. What would you say to, if someone comes into you, say, I want to meet someone, how do you know, like, she's matchable? I definitely know this woman is ready, and I can find someone for her.
All down to attitude, Patricia. All down to attitude. Mindset is everything. And if somebody comes on and I'm interviewing them or having this consultation that I have with them, which usually takes about an hour, and obviously some of it is information gathering, but a lot of it is down to the impression I get of the person. And if somebody is really positive and they have this attitude of glass half full, or they're comfortable with themselves, or they're looking forward to this with a sense of enthusiasm, then that is a huge part of this. And as I say to everybody I work with, I can only do so much. 90% of the process is down to them. They're like the raw materials. If you're baking a cake, your cake is only going to be as good as the ingredients you put into it. So this is like the people that are coming together, the quality of that, the quality of their intention and their attitude and mindset plays a huge part. If they don't believe that they deserve a relationship, if they don't believe that there's someone out there for them, if they don't believe in the process or in themselves, then I could stand on my head and do cartwheels for them and it still won't work. So essentially, the quality of that person's intention is a big 90% of it is down to that.
I absolutely love that. And do you get a feeling like, when do you kind of think, I'm going to find it? I'm just like, when you meet the person, you're like, yes.
Yeah, I've had those, as I call them, my light bulb moments, where inspiration comes in and I'll think of somebody and I'll feel it, and I don't question that, because that to me is inspiration, and it's something they're telling me, oh, this person is perfect. So I don't analyze it. I just go, yeah, okay, fair enough. And then I'll introduce them. And when that happens, it's always spot on, always. And I've had so many people over the years. I remember one guy coming into me one day, and the girl that was perfect for him had come in the previous day. That's literally how close they were to one another, within a day of one another. And the minute he sat down in my office, I just looked at him and I thought, oh my God, he's just perfect for her. And I don't know how long they're together now, probably about 4 or 5 years. But that was just one where my gut just told me immediately they were perfect. And it's great when that happens. It's brilliant when that happens. Does it happen all the time? No, of course it doesn't. But when it does, I'm really grateful for it. But some of the times we have to do a good bit of work. And it is a process. It's not like this immediate thing. And people are inclined to be a bit, I think at the moment, especially since the last 2 years have been so challenging, people are a bit frustrated and they just want to have it all and have it now. And I don't want to wait any longer. And I find that sometimes I have to encourage people to, hold tight, go with the process. Each individual is a new individual with a new set of circumstances, a new person. So if you don't win on your first one, if you don't meet the love of your life on the first date or the second date or the third date, keep going, and each time muster up the same enthusiasm, which is challenging. It is challenging because I've been that person. I've been that person going out there, getting into my car and driving to meet somebody and full of anticipation and full of ideas about what I'm expecting and being disappointed and driving home. And that journey home is twice as long because you're going home with a heavy heart. But you've got to get in the car the next time and do it again. Because when that happens and when the right person comes along, you want to be ready for them. You want to be in the right mindset and you want to be in the right mood. So I have to say to people, you've got to be strong and resilient through this, and you've got to be positive. Because if people really believe, Patricia, that their intention has an energy, and if they really believed that what they allow into their mind has an effect on the end result, then they would just dispel all these illusions. They would just not allow negativity in, and they would keep that positive mindset. They would realize how important that is in anything we do in life, but particularly in matters of the heart, because they're so fundamental to our life. So if I was giving somebody advice, I'd say to them, visualize and imagine what you want, without restricting, without saying, I want to box this off or I want to pigeonhole. Imagine how they would feel. So when I advise people, I'd say, okay, what I want you to do tonight is when you're going to bed, before you fall asleep, I want you to imagine yourself smiling. I want you to imagine how bright you're going to look. I want you to see yourself as really colorful, looking great and looking really happy. And then I want to see your hand holding someone else's hand. You don't have to see what he looks like or she looks like, because then you're restricting the universe, saying, I'm going to bring the perfect person for you. But what you're seeing is how you're going to look because you're smiling. And then imagine how you're going to feel and bring up that warm, fuzzy feeling of being in love. And when you get it all together, make it bigger and keep making it brighter and bigger. And get that feeling as it rushes through your body, that feeling of love for another person. And the feeling of that other person loving you back. And that's the magic. That's where it happens.
I absolutely love everything you've shared. I like all tingles in my body when you were describing that couple and how close they were. Like it was like the next day, like it's just how timing works. And I know that you have your own amazing love story. And I think that that's also just important to share. Sometimes there's people that are like giving advice. And that's one of the things that I really want. And some of the people that are coming on as guests are actually couples that I see as solid, good couples, because sometimes we need evidence and proof of it, to be able to actually be like, this is real. It's not like there's real life amazing couples out there and you know them. But maybe you share a bit of your own love story, because I actually heard all about your engagement as a message once. Yes. I was like, oh my God.
I know. And I suppose it gives hope to people too, because I say, okay, I'm not going to sit here and preach to people and tell people what to do if I haven't done it myself. I've done all of this myself. I've done the visualizations. I've done all this. I've worked out how things happen for us in life. And I totally believe that we are attractors, we're magnets. And if we're not holding a good intention or mindset, well, then we're going to be a magnet for that. So we want to be a magnet for good. And yeah, love doesn't stop when you reach a certain age. Like I turned 60 in June. I have absolutely no qualms about telling people that. I'm proud to be 60. I'm happy to be where I am in my life. And I got engaged. So, people might say, well, oh, it's already fine for you. But but I walk the walk. I talk the talk. I do it. I believe in love. I'm a total romantic. I've always believed in love. And I've had a lot of relationships in my life. I'm proud to say, yes, I have. I've, dated people from every color and creed and background and religion and you name it, been there, done that, all different nationalities, because I always had this attitude of, I'm so interested in what makes this person and what it's like to live where they live and grow up in this environment. And I just had this insatiable appetite for people and learning about people and understanding people. And, so I've never given up on love. And I look back on all the other relationships and I'm very grateful for them. They all taught me so much. They were gifts. I can honestly, hand on heart, say that now. It's not easy to do it if you've been through a relationship that was challenging. If it's broken up, that's a difficult thing to do, but it's part of the process. To be able to look back and say, I don't regret any of it. They were all gifts and I'm thankful and grateful for them. And then you open yourself up to something even better, something that's even better for you. And that's what I believe I have in my life now. I have a beautiful partner. We have an absolutely amazing relationship. It gets stronger and better every day. I thank God so much for this relationship. We're both really grateful because we've both been married, we've both been separated and divorced and have grown-up children. So we know the value of true love and a good relationship. We really do. So we can both appreciate where we're at in our life now. And we're making great plans for the future. So,
I love the true belief in love. I think this is a huge big part, is this belief in love. And then the idea of, and this is something I definitely went through with my process in calling Ken in, was just looking back at all the past relationships and thanking them. And actually seeing what the gifts for them, what was the learning, how did I grow? How did I evolve? Like, what was the learning from this? And what were the parts that I wanted to bring forth in a new relationship? So this is such valuable insights. I absolutely love it. Jennifer.
It's funny, just to say, I mean, you're the Feng Shui master, right? So if somebody has a cluttered home or a cluttered office, that clutter, it's the same about relationships. If you're still holding the energy of an old relationship, it's getting in the way of the new energy of the new relationship coming in. So it's Feng Shui your relationships. Yeah. Release them, set them free, and send an intention of love out and healing. And then it allows the new energy and the new person to arrive into your life.
Yeah. Totally. I would love, this is so beautiful. I would love to hear, when you're like looking at someone is, say, completed a form to work with you, or they're on the call with you, what are the red flags that you're like, this person needs to do this, or, some of the red flags to be looking at? Because, we think, oh yeah, of course I have a good personality or good this or this, but maybe some of the words they're saying or the way they are, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, because sometimes we don't realize that we're doing it.
Yeah, I suppose it's different things that I've observed during the maybe interview process rather than maybe when they make the inquiry. I mean, Amy and Shauna, who work with me, they look after the inquiries and then they pass them on to me for the interview. And they do have a process where they ask people certain questions about themselves. And what we look for is, good social skills, even at that point, that somebody can actually talk to you on the phone and tell you about themselves, because we do need certain information to start with. But the rest of it then is really down to that time I spend with them, which is usually an hour or a little over it. I don't have an alarm that goes off at the end of the hour, because if it runs over, well, then so be it. Means that I've really engaged with them and I'm really interested. But what I suppose what would be red flags to me would be somebody who's too restrictive, or very particularly restrictive in what they're looking for, that they have pigeonholed or boxed off certain characteristics or specifications. And sometimes, that's not the kind of person that's going to be perfect for them, because we all have these ideals and ideas about what's right for us. And, if somebody's coming to me and they haven't had a lot of success in the future, the last thing you want is they're going to repeat the same pattern. And we do, as human beings, we're comfortable with what we know. But what we know is based on the past. Maybe we need to let that go and try something different and maybe adopt a different modus operandi for the future and say, okay, that was what I did in the past. That didn't work for me. Maybe this time I just need to relax a bit with this and just say what qualities I'm looking for in a person, which are far more important than what they earn, what height they are, whether they play golf 3 or 4 times a week, whether they have third level education, So you'd be amazed at the amount of criteria some people want to, I suppose, apply to this process. And although criteria can be quite important, it can also be very restrictive, and it can be filtering out people that may actually be very suitable. Now, sometimes I actually encourage people to go with criteria because I need guidelines. But the thing that's important, is hugely important here, are values, what you value in life. So some people hugely value education. And that when I say education, formal education, academic, and that might be very high on their priority list because they grew up in a family where there was a lot of value put on that, emphasis put on it. And they may have gone on and, received, done a lot of formal education themselves. So that might be a value. But someone else might say, no, I prefer somebody that had, education of life, that maybe went and traveled a bit, explored, saw the world, did this, did that, tried different things. That might be more important to somebody else. And then for that matter, someone else might say, oh, well, it's very important to me that the person is athletic and very active and sporty, because I am, and I don't think we get along unless we shared the same sort of interests and hobbies. Yeah, that's a value. Again, it's somebody who's very much into health and fitness. So certainly somebody like that wouldn't match very well with somebody who leads a very sedentary life. So there are things we have to look at. But sometimes hobbies are not that important. He could be skydiving and you could be bird watching. Does it mean you won't get on? No. You can both say, okay, I'd like to try skydiving, and, he may come out and try bird watching with you someday. It can open doors. I mean, I know they're extremes, but they can open doors to new, exciting hobbies, new, exciting interests. And if we just kind of go, okay, this is my life and this is it, and somebody has to fit into my life, no, it's not about that. It's about saying, they have their life, I have mine, but let's maybe hop in and out and explore one another's lives and see. So I see it as picture frames. A picture frame here, the girl, picture frame here, the guy. You've one in the middle where they come together. You create a new picture. You're not looking for him to fit into yours or you to fit into his. So, it allows for change, and it allows for movement, and it allows for exploration and adventure.
And I totally believe that, like, we are to come together, to evolve together, and to grow together. That's the whole part. It's a growth journey of like new things when you come together. And I love your idea, the criteria thing, or they having the criteria, like strict criteria. Because if I think about it, Ken, I didn't meet Ken online. We met in person at an event, and it was like a couple of weeks into our dating that we realized that our age gap was very significant. So if I had been online or going to you, I'd been like, oh no, that's way too old.
Absolutely.
Too old. That box is too old. But like you've met Ken, everyone knows Ken in the community. Like, he's youthful. Like, he's a youthful person. Like, he doesn't act like it. He doesn't look like it. And actually together it doesn't even look like there's a difference.
No, I wouldn't have known that. And I've met you too. I would never have known that there was an age gap, because it never was something that came up or that was obvious. So there you go. That's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah. And it's this idea of like restricting ourselves. So I love what you've been saying there about this, the boxes. And, when I think about just even, Ken and I both kind of wrote lists, but they were very vague. There wasn't like, they were vague, but still like important, but they weren't like critical. when it came to it. But if we think about if I thought about that and I was like, oh my God, like I would have basically like knocked him out. It'd be like, no.
Absolutely.
Whereas like
that
you're
happens all
missing
the
out
time.
on the best person, like the most amazing relationship because of like, oh, he doesn't have this or doesn't, and even like his job, or like his job wouldn't have been once. Now he doesn't work with me, or totally would have been like a no.
Yeah. And people start thinking too far ahead. I have people say to me, oh, where does he live? Or where does she live? Oh, I'm not going to move there. And I'm like, hello? We haven't asked you to move anywhere. All we've asked you to do is meet for a coffee, meet for a chat, see how you get along. Because if you fall in love, everything changes. 3 years, 4 years from now, do you know what you're going to be doing? No. Does anybody know what they're going to be doing? No. Nobody has any idea. Nobody would have thought the last 2 years were going to happen, right? So nobody knows what they're going to be doing next year. We can plan and we can say, well, this is what I expect to be doing, but we actually don't know. Nothing is written in stone. So when they start saying to me, oh, I'm not going to meet him or her because they're not in the same county as me, or they're, an hour's drive, and I can't see myself having a relationship with somebody that lives there. Or what I had the other day is a lady said to me, I don't like that accent. I won't meet that person because I can't stand an accent from that part of the country. So, the mind boggles as to what people, what ideas people have. And they get caught up in so much silliness, really. But I have to go with that. I have to honor, their specifications, and I have to, do the best I can to please them within the parameters of, their filters. But I do try and encourage people to be open-minded, because when you fall in love with somebody, you don't, very few people will say, oh, this is the exact person I imagined I was going to be with. No. Ask people, and I'd say 99.9% of people will say to you, not what I would have thought I'd be with, or not the kind of person I imagined, but I'm so happy. And they need to give it a chance. When they meet, it's not a case of, oh, I didn't feel the fireworks, I didn't feel the earth moving. Maybe you won't on the first date. Maybe you will on the second. Maybe you won't until the fourth or fifth date, because you're getting to know the person better. They're growing on you. You're starting to feel, you're letting your defenses down. They're letting their defenses down. They're blossoming. They're coming out. They're emerging. You're starting to see more of the real person. So that's why I encourage people, if there's any sort of, ease in that first date, that first meeting, you're not telling them, you're not committing anything to them. You're not writing or signing a contract to say, I'll stay with you forever. All you're doing is saying, I'll meet you again.
Yeah.
Let's go out next time and we'll do something different and see how we get on. And people are afraid of doing that because they're terrified that the other person will think they're into them, or the other person might be disappointed if it doesn't go to a third date. So the amount of fear that people have around relationships and about just getting out and meeting people. Patricia, my mother had a great saying, Lord rest her. She used to say, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. So when we were teenagers and growing up, and we'd say, I don't want to go and meet that person. She'd say, why? I don't know them. Well, you need to get to know them. And her attitude was amazing. And that's the attitude she carried through her life. And if people had that sort of attitude in this, I'm going out to meet somebody. You never know what's going to happen. And I'll just give you an example. I had a guy a few years ago who joined, and he was an amazing guy. I mean, this guy was just larger than life. And he told me when he did finally meet somebody through me, and he had gone out on lots of dates. He had actually rejoined a couple of times. By God, did he enjoy the process? And he said to me once, I'd love to write a book about all my dates and all the people I've met. And I said, no, you can't do that. But he said, every time I saw your number coming up on my phone, he said, I used to get excited and I'd go, oh, who am I going to meet this time? Now, if I could capture his attitude and give it to everybody and say, that's what you need to do. That's how you need to be in this process, because he enjoyed every date. He always looked after the women, took them out for a lovely dinner. They all loved him. They were all keen on him. I'd say majority of them did like him. He was fussy, yes, but he always made sure that whoever he went out with, that they had a nice time and that they got his undivided attention, and that he could walk away saying, I think that person had a nice evening in my company. Isn't that a lovely attitude?
That's so beautiful. And you know, you said one word, and I think this is the one that is so important: ease. If it feels easy or ease, like just keep with that. That ease is flow. And just that word and that guy, I just think that guy is so lovely. Like just being excited about it is the whole point. Like it's exciting. Like it's an amazing journey. And there's so many people, and I have so many daft stories of dating stories and so many amazing ones where I thought I'd met the one, and my parents, my mom had the hat bought. They were like, keep him. He ticked every box you could possibly imagine, and they didn't work. And then I was like, okay. And then I met Ken, and I'm like, he's a million times better. He's so much amazing. And that's the thing. It's ease.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And you mentioned something there too. And it's interesting because I say to people, it's actually on my terms and conditions. And I've written on it, you know, this person is not the person to fit in with your friends, to be accepted by your family. This person is for you. Because sometimes people are trying to find somebody who's going to, entertain their friends and be accepted into that group. And it's all about other people rather than actually who's going to love me and share love with me and be nurturing and kind, and somebody in my corner who wants to be with me. And then if everybody else likes them, great. But if they don't, it actually doesn't matter, because I love the person so much myself. And if people care about you, they'll just be so happy to see you with somebody who loves you, you know. So again, we've got to get our priorities right around this and go, no, they're right for me. And that's where you start, you know.
I absolutely love that. And I think, yes, you're so right that it's like, even just so funnily, like that guy would have been like fit and with like everything. Whereas like Ken, he does, but like in a different way, but he fits me better than everyone else. And that's he said the most important thing. And this is about growth and about values, and just, oh my God, everything you've shared is just so amazing and so powerful. And I think, you know, it's from the experience. What would you, just like a few last words, I don't want to hold you for too long, but what would you say to people who are currently on the, wanting to call in love? I know you've done loads of advice, but like some final things to bring it all together.
To call in love, how they would go about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is down to, even if they pick up a couple of books about love. I read one years ago, and it was like, why, what was it? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And I read the follow-up one, which is why men don't listen and women can't read maps. And I had actually direct experience of that myself, having got lost in the States while I was trying to navigate with a map, and he wouldn't stop and ask for directions. And, so I had all this. So those kind of books too are good. Do you know what it is? Get in the mood for love, because it is a sort of a space. And, I remember interviewing a lady years ago in Cork, and I was sitting there interviewing her, and she said to me, I don't really believe this is going to work. And I looked at her and I said, so you don't believe it's going to work, but you want me to believe it's going to work? I said, no, that's not the way this works. I said, we both have to believe it's going to work. This is a collaboration here. This isn't you thinking, oh, this isn't going to work, because then it won't. You're completely jeopardizing any hopes you have from the start. So, whatever it takes to get in the right mindset, I do think being prepared, being open, and maybe even be grateful for it before it even comes, and give thanks for what's coming, and be ready for it. But I do think, I watch things like first dates. I sit there with a big grin on my face for the night, and I record them all. And as I said, I'm a total romantic, and sometimes myself and Raymond are sitting on the couch and I actually take one look at him and I see him with a big silly grin. And I just think the two of us are sitting there like Cheshire cats watching this program. But it's nice. It's lovely to watch people falling in love. It's lovely to watch people connecting and getting on. And I particularly love it when I see the old people. And I'm just there going, oh God, it's so cute. It's so nice. It's like so lovely. Because as you get older, your chances diminish. It's not as easy to meet people. But I've had people on my books up to 80. And as I just love that. I love that they have that. They're vibrant and they're still alive. And for every minute they're alive, they want to live and they want to love. And that's it. Our purpose here is to love, to be loved, to give love, and to be loved. And I think that's a huge driving force. And for people to be comfortable with that and not fear love, not be afraid that things mightn't work out. Because fear is the opposite to love. And it just cancels out the love. So if we stay with the love and just eliminate the fear or just push it to one side and say, for now, I'm going to stay with this feeling of love. And if it's women I'm talking to, surround yourself with love things. Buy yourself some red or pink or whatever it is. It's not soppy, it's not silly. Just surround yourself with good feeling things and imagine that person, sharing your space. Imagine what it would be like when somebody is, sharing that space with you, and feel into that process, because our feelings are all creating these things all the time. But openness and a sense of enthusiasm and belief in love, they're the things. But fill your mind, fill your spare time with good feeling stuff that all backs this up, that all supports you falling in love and meeting that special person.
I feel like I'm the Cheshire cat here smiling, listening to you, because I just love your energy. I love what you shared with us. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly it. I knew Jennifer would be amazing. And, when we're doing the feng shui and all the other inner things, that's a big part, is like setting up the place, like setting up your bedroom, setting up getting it all ready, getting ready. So I'm so excited to have you here. And I'm so grateful for you. I think one of the things I just wanted to share was the one final piece was the idea of the taking action. So when you work with people one-to-one, but even going online.
Yeah. People need to be proactive. They actually need to take action. I think for a lot of people, they just kind of assume anything that we want to manifest in our life. You don't sit at home or lie in bed and just say, oh, I'm imagining it's going to happen, and then do nothing more. We have to take that little step and do something about it. So whether that's coming to an agency or whether it's going online, everything is down to taking that first step and not being afraid, and saying, okay, put my fears aside. I'm going to step out here, out of my comfort zone. Because life starts at the edge of that comfort zone. When you step out of it, that's when all this stuff starts happening. It's like, you're somebody there and they're in the swimming pool and you're dipping your toe in the water and they're going, no, come in. It's actually really good in here. It's lovely. Just give it a go. And then you go, okay, and you just jump in or dive in. So life is a bit like that. It wants us to engage with it. It wants to work with us and collaborate with us and have this adventure with us. But if we're there holding ourselves tight and closed off and going, no, I have to protect myself from getting hurt, or I have to protect myself from rejection, I can't do this, and yet it's all out there to enjoy and to experience.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. This has been just absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I just feel so happy. I'm going to be bouncing out to Ken now to the call. And just saying, like everything you just said is so valuable, so worthwhile. And I know it's coming from a place of real experience and having placed, I don't know, you've matched Nate, I'm sure, like thousands of people over the years. So it's not just me with my experience. This is Jennifer. You just have so much experience of seeing this. So I'm so grateful for you sharing your wisdom with us today. And I'm very grateful. And so will all of the ladies who are tuning in to listen to this, because it's so valuable.
We'll share it with the men too. They could
share
do
it with
this,
the men as well.
you know,
Yes.
everybody. And the ladies can share it with the men. They, you know, and we'll put it up, we'll post it whenever, wherever we can, and get it out there to you, because this is not just for women. This is for everybody. You know, because we're all the same underneath these disguises of, you know, men or women. We're all the same. We're all seeking love, and it's lovely for us all to benefit. So thank you so much for having me on. I totally enjoyed it as well. I'm feeling very energized and very nice too, looking at your smiling face sitting there and asking me these fantastic questions. So yeah, I enjoyed it too, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us live, if you're joining us live. And we will share this out as well. And we will see you all. We've got some more guests coming up over the next couple of weeks, which is super fun. But thank you, Jennifer. Have a great day.
Anytime.
And we'll speak to you soon. I'm looking forward to hearing and sharing all of the positive stories as a result of your amazing wisdom being shared.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks,
Patricia.
Amelia.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.